Welcome back, everyone. So in this portion, what we will do is just orientate you a little bit in terms of the so-called layout before we actually start building on this visual itself. You recall, this is what we built last time, and we've had a chart that is actually all created for us and selected for us. I want to orientate you a little bit in terms of the usage of and how to manipulate the chart itself, such that you can create what you actually want to ultimately produce and report. So to begin with, whenever you select a visual, you will see these square here. When you unselect, then notice that disappear altogether. Do pay attention to both the filters as well as the visuals. Notice that as soon as I select these, the filters change. Notice the filters on this shows you month, the text, which is this part here, is filtering all, meaning it allows you to view everything, and the workday likewise allow you to view everything as well. And on this portion here, you will see the axis is selected, or rather the month X is selected for the axis, and for workday is selected for values, and other information that's provided here. Drill through in terms of the cross report is off, keeping all filters on. So these are some of the options available for you. This is where the formatting really starts, and the fields here, we briefly mentioned this in the past, is where the data table, which is this table here, and also the various fields that you can utilize to create the visuals. And of course, if you actually import from other data sources, it will show as well as another data table. All right, so keep that in mind. The next part that we really want to talk about is in terms of the visualization. Let's start with this. This is very clear, and this is the part that you really want to actually pay attention to. Let's just say I want to actually, rather than showing this chart, what I will do, however, before I actually start changing, I'm going to keep this. All right, so I want you to pay attention to the mouse. As I drag along, it will come a point whereby you see this red dot pops out like this. Okay, so this is where the canvas, the report canvas, is cut in half. So this is half, this is the other half. So what we will do is that we'll see if we can make a copy of this. The options doesn't show. So I'm going to use copy and select outside of the chart itself and paste. Okay, and I'm going to drag this to the other side. You notice that this is exactly at the halfway point, and these two are symmetrical. And the other thing that I do want to show you is that how this is cut in half based on left and right. How about up and down? You can actually drag this again, wait for the red line to pop out here. This is the halfway point for the top and bottom. So this is how you can actually identify and figure out where to place your visuals. Okay, so this is a very handy way to actually guide you along. Of course, there is also this grid line as well. They are quite handy as well. Now, let's just say I want to change to other types of visual. You can change it, rather than a clustered column chart, you can actually change it to a stacked bar instead. And this is what it looks like instead of this. And of course, you might feel free to play around to decide what works better for you. Is it better to show a chart, or is it better to just display it in a tabular format like this, or is it better that it's displayed in a matrix format? So there's various ways that you can actually play with this, and notice that it's just a matter of selecting which one, and it changes right away and makes it extremely easy for you to, well, make your selection and choice as well. Now, there is one thing that I do want to highlight, we have 3 panes here. There are actually 3 more sub-panes. When we roll my mouse over here, there is this fuse sub-panes, which not to be confused with this fuse. This is the fuse panes itself. This is the fuse sub-panes under visualization. The few subpanes here is to allow you to choose what to display. Notice that the name has changed to rows, columns, and values. Okay, if I select this, it changed to axis, legend, values, and tooltips. Okay, so this is the views subpane. If I come over here, there is the format subpanes that allows you to make a lot of configurations for this specific visual itself. You can turn off the x-axis, notice that the label disappear altogether, or you can turn it on back on again. So there's a whole lot of others to allow you to configure and design your chart to your liking. Okay, and that's the key part, learning part about this few subpanes. There is one more here which is called the analytics subpanes. When do you use this? This is when you actually want to display some values on the chart itself. So in this, let's just say I want to show where the average is. I can basically select this drop down and click add, and immediately you will see this line shine through here. Now the color here is not very good because it's blue, and blue is really hard to visualize. Maybe you want to select something that's a little bit more striking, lighter color per se, but that doesn't work so well because the background is white. So in that case, then we might have to actually go back to a darker color, more like closer to the black or dark gray, and there you go. That becomes a bit easier to visualize. So that's really the key part about making full use of what's available on this portion here. First thing is, how do you duplicate chart? Identifying the 4 quadrants by dragging the visuals along until that red line, as you can see there, appear. And then after that, noticing the filters, this portion here. You can also notice the fill subpanes, the format subpanes, as well as the analytics subpanes, which was shown here as well. Coming back to the formatting part here, which is this part here, we do want to make a few changes to this chart. All right, so you can actually make some modification in terms of the, as I showed you earlier, the x-axis, the y-axis, and why don't we actually make some changes so that we can actually have some a bit more clearer information. Okay, so x-axis itself, which is this portion here, most of these we want to leave alone. Okay, the part that we do want to change is the title itself. Month bracket text just looks weird, so we'll just call it month. That is sufficient. Okay, and notice that that's changed right away. So we're happy with that, so let's just minimize. The second part that we want to make some changes is the y-axis. Again, this is a bit weird. People don't usually write anything that way. So we want to come down to the title, axis title, and change it to number of work days. Okay, and there you go. That's changed right away. So let's just again minimize this, and we want to actually add, let's just say, the axis. Sorry, we already changed the title for X and Y axis. We want to actually change the title text itself. So come to title text, this long-winded work day by month. So maybe we just want to change the number of work days. By month. Okay, not that much better, but at least it's actually a little bit more relatable than what it was displaying before. Okay, the next part then is that we do want to actually see the so-called labels itself. Okay, so label being the value of each of this bar itself. So all you have to do here is that under data label, just turn it on, and then you will have the number of work days per month by month over the last 10 years. So that's a lot easier to visualize. But I'm just wondering if we can actually make some more changes. Okay, so the color is okay, but positioning, can we actually change it a little bit? Right now is let me see, auto. How about inside in? That seems to be a bit better. Can we make further changes like show background? How about lighter background to light blue, say? No, that's not quite sufficient. Let's just say white. Okay, our transparency can be turned down, up a little bit. Just keep changing until you come to a point whereby you're reasonably happy with it, and that's better. Okay, so you can see here that these fonts are easier to read now, and you can actually also visualize all of this information a bit better. So you have the bar chart there, this is called bar or the column chart, and then you can also see the so-called number of days as well. All right, so other things that we may be wanting to change a little bit is that you can actually change the data color for specific month, specific bars. So how do you do that? You have this show all option here, and which is the month that has the highest value. That's May and also August. Let's just pick May and August. We'll come down here. We can change the color for May and change the color for August as well. That's way too bright, so let's just third option. Yeah, this on the third option. Okay, and that makes it you highlighted the specific month that you actually want to to highlight the key points that you want to actually put across. That's really the beauty of Power BI. This allows you to actually do all of these in a very succinct, very in a very quick manner. All right, so this is just the first part. When we come back, we will show you a little bit more of some of the options available to you. And for now, thank you for watching.